This video is presented by EA Game Changers. Thank you, EA, for providing me a copy of the pack to review. Hey hands! How we all diddly doing? How's everybody holding up? My makeup's extra today because I have a Halloween party with my nieces and nephews. We are all part of the same social bubble. Today, I'm going to be doing my review of the Sims 4 Snow pack. I can't even the names of them. I'm sorry for everybody. If you've never been one of my reviews before, I give my 100% honest opinion. I don't sugarcoat things, but I'm also not a bitch just for the sake of being a you know, if there's a critique, I'll give it. So, first and foremost, let's just jump on into them. Let's talk about Create Sim. And I was actually pleasantly surprised with this one. I do really like the style of clothing and the general aesthetic, but that kind of general aesthetic is right up my alley anyway. The women's hairs in particular I'm pleased with, and the men only get 3 hairstyles, one of which I'm not really a fan of. But there is a hair that is pretty much my hair when it was longer. And now it's making me want to get hair extensions. Let me know if I should. Can you imagine just long? Stunning. The adult clothing has a mix of fashionable attire as well as skiing clothes, which I'm going to be honest with you, I'm never really that asked about like these heavily themed clothes, like skiing clothes. And it's not a critique of them because the meshes for the most part are well done, but I've just never found myself using clothes that are themed in this way, like the clothes that came with Dine Out. I've never used the chef's thing. I personally see him as a wasted slot, but I do know that other people might enjoy him. At least some of the coats can be used outside of the context of just skiing. They do have some nice patterns, so generally in your outerwear, there will be a good thing to wear. But the trousers are just a no from me, love, because I don't think the Sims team know the definition of high-waisted, I'll be honest with you, and they never have, and they probably never will. Children and toddlers also have new items in this pack, which, wow, what a big fat concept. Children and toddlers are also given some of their hairs adults are given, and I am loving this change, because honestly, I love that hairs are given age appropriateness, which might sound like how can a hair be age appropriate, but they don't give the toddlers any hair that would be longer than the hair a toddler should have, if you know what I mean. So they're all quite short hair, and I vibe with them. I like them. So in terms of clothing and hair, Create Sim is pretty much a win for me. There is a couple of odd meshes. For the most part, the downfalls on my end are subjective because I don't personally like that style, and there's only like 1 or 2 meshes that I don't really like, and that's the one hair. And you just can't do trousers, okay? If you're going to get trousers, just please rely on custom content. They don't know the definition of high waist. I've said before, I'll say it again, but I am willing to teach them. So call me, beat me if you want to reach me. Dun, 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 dun. What's the search? And then for traits, a trait's even a thing anymore. I'm not impressed. I'm not enjoying it. 2 new aspirations, which are pretty much tutorials. So you know how I feel about that. And then I decided to make me and my mum for the people to guide this review because it's Corona time and we do not travel. So I am living vicariously through my Sims, and me and my mum will travelling beach. So before we move in the actual world, let's talk about the build and buy for a second. I do have a build coming out on Sunday where I try and recreate Tokyo apartments because that's my favourite niche of YouTube. I used the items in build and buy so much. It was a great time. I loved them. They're so nice. We also have kitchen counters and platforms. And I'm not going to lie, I really did struggle with using the platforms. Like, I just don't know how to do it because the Game Changers houses that I went in, the platforms have got coloured edges and I could not figure out how to get the coloured edges. But I think that's a me problem. And I'm just going to have to deal with that. Please, somebody teach me those. Slide into my DMs. But in terms of platforms, like, that is genuinely a game-changing addition to build and buy. I think they got included first time with the Sims 2 Apartment Life. Don't quote me on that one. And it completely changed the build and buy mode. Same as like the curve, being able to have sectional stairs that completely transform build and buy. This does the exact same thing as well. So build and buy mode, solid win for me. Like, I am very impressed with it. Again, before we jump into the world, I want to talk about an update from this pack, which is lifestyles. And I'm very impressed with this because I have been a big fat disappointed ever since The Sims 4 came out with traits. I just don't, the worst version of traits in the game, which isn't difficult to do because there's only 2 games that have had traits in them, but you know, it's hard to beat The Sims 3. And I like it when the Sims team takes something and build upon it. And traits in the Sims 4 did not do that. The traits in Sims 4 said, I'm shy, never address me. And lifestyles is basically a counter to that. You have my attention. I don't really have any footage of lifestyles. That's a good thing, right? Because lifestyles aren't just something that's easily attainable and you click it and you've got it. There's something that you work on over a period of weeks or like a very long period of time, which I think is big fat great because everything in The Sims so far has felt too easy and I've been yearning for that like level of difficulty, you know what I mean? This gives me that. And there's different categories for lifestyles. There's quite a lot actually. For example, one of them is workaholic and your Sim can have 3 of these at a time, which again, beautiful. I would have preferred like 5, but you know what I mean? Like I would just like The Sims 3 64-bit, please, thank you, Frost. But these can change over time too, so you're not stuck with them forever because traits, you kind of are stuck with them forever. You do change generally as a person as you go through life. And I like that lifestyles kind of change with you, and that impacts gameplay as well, really adds some depth to it, because you could have a workaholic man who decides, nah, fuck this shit, fuck capitalism, I'm going to spend time with my family, I'm a ding dong. So that takes traits and builds upon them, and I love to see it. Then we move into the actual world, and I am very pleased to let you know that each world can essentially become a vacation world. I'm not too sure how this impacts worlds that are already a vacation world, like Granite Falls and Selva Dorada. Don't quote me on this, but I don't think that you can change them into residential lots. There is a mod for it, but as great as the mod is, like I just want that customization, you know. But again, don't quote me on that. I think that you can't change them, but you might be able to. But the fact that every world can become a vacation world now. How many times am I going to chef's kiss in this video? You know what? It's nice to be impressed. It's nice change. And how it works is it's basically like a lot type. So you can have a rental lot, or you can have a residential world that you can buy. And this is great because this really helps with gameplay and like the depth of gameplay, because you can have two scenarios in my head right now. You can have a rental property, which basically you pay rent on before you buy a house. So you can save up money that way. And then that adds depth to the gameplay, because renting right now is only kind of like an apartment thing, where this is different, and it can like, you can rent a full house, do you know what I mean? So that adds some depth to the gameplay there. But also, I complain a lot that The Sims is pretty much an American simulator. If you're from a place that resembles Solani, you could make Windenburg a holiday place, so you can kind of navigate it to customize the world to you, so you can make it a you simulator. That sounds corny, but you know what, I just like to think out the box with these kind of things, right? And I'm an individual, don't attack me for it. I always keep them kind of things in mind, because my experience is quite similar to an American experience. There is some stark contrasts though, but I always keep in the back of my mind, like, well, what about people whose experiences aren't American or British experience? Like, how are they going to feel this game? That opens up a lot of possibilities in that aspect. So essentially it's kind of like making magic, where you can visit a world, but you can also buy property there. Never thought these words would come out of my mouth, but well done, Sims team. Then we finally actually move on to the actual world. Sorry, there's just so much to cover. So the actual world in itself is separated into 3 sections. There's 14 lots, I think, 14 or 15. All the screenshots I've got one thing covering the place, I'm sorry, which is it's a decent sized world, honestly. Not to bring The Sims 3 back. I'm that lass who just talks about her ex-boyfriend all the time. My ex-boyfriend's Sims 3. But The Sims 3 kind of set the bar for me. I'm sorry to say it. It set the bar. So 15 is an improvement, but I just miss big worlds. I won't be giving an in-depth through of the worlds today either, because that's going to be out tomorrow with full-on critiques about everything. So this is just going to be an overview of it. Otherwise, this review would be way too long, because this is like half of my master's thesis that I've got wrote down as a script right now. Each neighbourhood also has a hiking trail, which I'll speak about after I've spoke about the neighbourhoods individually, because I want to speak about hiking as like one collective thing. So the top section is the snowy section, Yukimatsu. I will butcher names, and I am sorry about it, where you can ski, snowboard, stay in a snowy environment, etc, etc. It is always snowy here. It doesn't require seasons for it to be snowy here. And I actually really enjoyed playing up here. I'll be honest with you. I love the snowy world. I love snow anyway. I'm an adrenaline junkie, me. And skiing and snowboard interactions were really fun to play with. They were very cute, and it was a very enjoyable experience. A concept. What a concept. It did get a bit long-winded after a while, but I think that is as such for everything in The Sims, you know, especially because I was trying to build the skill fast in a short space of time. Like, I'm going to get bored if my sim has to play chess 30 times in a row.
It's the potential of street life.
It's especially jarring in first-person view, which I loved. So my first issue with the pack, because you all know it's going to fucking happen, is here. So remember in the trailer when we saw the ski lift or the gondola, and I was like, that's got to be usable, because there's no way that they could just include that and then not make it usable. Well, it's semi-usable. You click on it and it instantly teleports you to like to the top of the mountain. You don't get to ride in the car or anything, and I kind of get it. Like, I can get the premise behind it, because if you're skiing up and down and all that, it would take some time each time to like ride the gondola. But Jesus Christ, just instantly teleporting to the top of the mountain broke all immersion for me, and it was a real, like, it did not keep the suspension of disbelief. It really, really ruined it. It is actually quite jarring. I would have much preferred to just wait a second or two at least, not even ride the gondola, right? That would have been prime, but even just going in, waiting 2 seconds and then being at the top. But no, it was just instant, click it, you're up there. It was jarring. I hate it here. And your Sims don't even enter the lot, because it's just a set, so the kind of outside of it and then boom, vanishes, and then they're at the other end. Calm down, Dumbledore. This neighbourhood also has a hot springs, which is a nice addition to this park. I was quite pleased to see it. It's a lot type, so you can basically have this in any world. And I was worried, we already have Spa Day, does that render that useless? But it actually doesn't, because hot springs are kind of like a thing by themselves. They're similar to spas, but it doesn't render them useless. Oh, fucking mate, Spa Day was actually a pack. Can we stop normalising making packs like that and just include them in expansion packs? So yeah, you can have them in any world, and you can go there, you can sit in the hot springs. Not for me personally, because I've been to a hot springs before in New Zealand, and for me it is just a glorified bath, but it doesn't have to be for me, do you know what I mean? Because my mum loves hot springs, so I'm sure she'd absolutely love this part of the park. Sad to report that there is no ponds. Unfortunately, that trailer did really make me think that there would be ponds included, but no, there's no ponds. I think that was just the hot springs. Unless I'm missing it, but I don't think I am. If you get up to the mountains, you can also rock climb too, which again, like, that does kind of render fitness stuff useless, because, you know, let's not normalise this. But I do like the fact that rock climbing is included. Like, if you don't have fitness stuff, great addition. And I like how they've incorporated it into the world, because with fitness stuff it was kind of like an object that you place, where with this it is just included in the world. And you know, as you're bopping about the world and all that, there's things that you can interact with along the way that really make the world come to life, which in such a 2D world, it needs it. There's also a snow festival here, and unfortunately I don't have any footage of the festivals, I am sorry. But each neighbourhood does have its own festival, similar to San Myshuno, which I do like this aspect, honestly. It gives a lot of depth to the park, and I wouldn't necessarily play with these on camera, because you record a kind of a different way than you play the game. But in my own gameplay, like Legacy Families, I do use the festivals a lot, so I'm happy that we have more. And then after your day of getting frostbite, you can go back to your vacation home. You can order things to your house if you forget them. So like potties, for example, because I always bitch about the Sims that they included toddlers and then didn't include, and then just forgot them from the game. You can order a potty, toddler toys, children's toys. I love it. And it's a really good aspect of the park. Also, talking about immersion, how the gondola like broke my immersion. Having to go into building by when I'm on holiday in The Sims breaks my immersion a bit, and I don't like that. So I like the fact that I can like click on the post box and order a potty. That adds to my immersion. I like what they've done there. Also, I did get set on fire on my first night here, but you know what? It's a personal problem. Also, I have no critiques for any of the homes. My critiques is for the world itself, because the homes are all built by game changers, which is thank fuck. The next neighbourhood is Sempamachi. I've probably butchered it and I'm very sorry, which translates to the town of 1,000 leaves. It's basically really connected to nature, and has bamboo forests and trails, a big park in the centre, a bar, which I did not know, but because I said in my trailer review, did we need another bar? But apparently this is really part of their culture, so I'm happy that we've got that included. And residential homes. And aesthetically, it's stunning. It's got a big river going through the middle. A more in-depth review, like I said, will be out tomorrow. And then the next neighbourhood is Wakaba. Sorry if I've butchered it. Which is where it all goes downhill for me, loves. Lord, give me strength. The description of it says that it features an attractive town centre, which is an outright lie. Sorry, I'd say it again. Remember the train in the trailer?
I need to go into politics. But I did tell a bit of a lie there.
It's just all getting a bit much. It's completely unusable. You can't even enter it, and it would have really added depth to this game if you could have stepped on that train and even went through loading screen, right? Even if you'd have walked up to the train, you evaporate onto the train, you got your plumb bob above the train, enter a loading screen, boom, you're at the top of the mountain. That would have been amazing, especially because a large part of this world features a train track in the goddamn set. But instead, it's unusable. You can't even, even the train station itself, unusable. Can't click on it, can't interact with it. And you know what, loves, it doesn't stop there, because every single part of this world is completely unusable. I'm sick of it. I hate it here, honestly. It's a completely missed opportunity. And also, the town centre is absolutely dead. It's dead. Nobody walks about. Nothing happens. Like, it looks like Middlesbrough on a good day. There's so many shops that are just shells. Like, that you can't interact with anything. The other neighbourhoods are great. Like, honestly, I don't have that many critiques for the other neighbourhoods. I think that's because the entirety of the budget was spent there, and for this, she's got nothing left. It's literally got nothing to offer besides the homes that Game Changers build. 2 vending machines and a food stall. She's bland. She's dry. She's got nothing. I was actually taken aback by how empty it was. Like, I had to get clarification on if I was missing something or if this is actually this empty. Shock horror, it's actually this empty. She's got the... Why am I gendering a neighbourhood? It's got a festival, thank fuck. But don't visit it without that, because honestly you'll get nothing apart from a few vendor machines and an immense feeling of dread that the entire world's become extinct because there's no one in this world. Seriously, I miss rabbit holes. Like, I know rabbit holes got critiqued a lot, but the thing is, I'd rather have, for example, there was a clothes shop there. I would rather have a rabbit hole than just a shell that's completely unusable. Rabbit holes can add to the depth of the world if they're done well. Anyway, on a lighter note, now for hiking. Hiking, honestly, is the unsung hero of this pack for me, and I did not expect to like it. I am also more of an adrenaline junkie than like a slow-paced person, you know, like if I was gonna do anything athletic, I would be on them slopes, babe, I would be on them slopes. But, Jesus fucking Christ, I loved hiking, which I didn't think I was going to do, because I genuinely thought about hiking in this game. Why is this a part that's been introduced when I can just click on my Sims to walk? But if you click like go visit the mountain, they'll do it autonomously, so you don't have to control them, and they actually interact with the world around them, which I wasn't expecting, and I really liked it. They'll stop, take pictures, they'll stop to talk. Me being impressed. What a concept. I love to see it, and I genuinely think that this is such a great thing to include. It works well with the closedness of the Sims 4's worlds, because obviously there's all this world around you, but there's not really anything there, and you have to go to a loading screen to see something else. So being able to just hike about it, and the being things that you can go and do within this closed world, I really enjoyed it. I didn't expect hiking to be the selling point of this pack for me, but it is, loves. It is. Can you imagine like getting all your family in the little outdoor gear and like going hiking on a Sunday? Oh, I love it. And there's different places you can go to too in all of the world. So there's monuments that you can visit. There's caves that you can go see with like things that you have to interact with in the front of it. We love to see it. We love to see it. You can be attacked by critters, and you can even take selfies in front of the monuments that you like, which at first I was like, is this not a bit disrespectful? Is this not in bad taste? But the game addresses that. Like, if you take a selfie in front of a monument, the game gives you a negative moodlet for being an insufferable tourist. That's right, a negative consequence. So we love to see it. And that actually, like, it felt like a bit, you know, like whimsical, like The Sims 1 and 2 felt. It ignited that like old Sims feeling in me. The graveyard, shock horror, there's no Bonehilda, which we knew. But the graveyard is just a set, and what I would have loved is if the graveyard was like a place that you could actually send your graves to once your sim died. Realistically, after that, what I would have loved is actually able to like click the graves and like read the names of them like in previous Sims games, but they're just a set object. But yeah, overall, hiking became my favourite part of this pack, and I was not expecting it. Why is this about snow? It's not even this is a small part of the pack for me. Now, onto the smaller things that are worth a mention, because even though they're small, they have a big, massive impact. Sims take off the shoes if they go inside, which is representative of the culture. And children will go to school in a uniform if they live here, which I love. I absolutely love, because it's the same in England. I'm sure that there is things that I'm missing, but I didn't have an unlimited time with this pack, so sorry. So all in all, my overall thoughts, I haven't been impressed with the Sims pack in a while, especially since Journey to Batu. In fact, I was offended by the Sims 4 Journey Batu. I was fucking fuming. I still am fuming over Sims 4 Journey Batu, but I am impressed with this one. Dare I say, this, apart from Seasons, because I feel like Seasons is a necessity that you need to have. Apart from Seasons, I think that this might be my favourite pack so far, honestly. Hiking really sold it to me, which I didn't think it was going to. The Snowy Escape is cool too, but like honestly, like hiking's the star of the show for me, loves. But yeah, I'd say I'm impressed with 2/3 of this pack, like the hiking, the snowy part and everything like that, the neighbourhoods, the builds, the general world. I'm impressed with all that. Wakaba really let me down. The entire neighbourhood, like I said, is pretty much just unusable. They definitely blew the budget on the other neighbourhoods, which it's not an excuse. It does hold the youth festival, so why not include a park in the centre of it, you know what I mean? Like a kids park. Missed opportunity, loves, missed opportunity. And the train being entirely unusable, yeah, having a dedicated section of the trailer. Why do the Sims team players like this? But yeah, I don't hate this pack. What a concept. Which is more than I can say for Journey Batu, do you know what I mean? The slap in the face that she was. What a waste of a slot. No, seriously. Because Journey Batu for me isn't a case of like, well, if you don't like it, don't buy it. I don't necessarily agree with that sentiment anyway. But Journey Batu is like, what a slap in the face, and what a very obvious marketing scheme for Disney World. Sellouts. And the pack is just utter shit anyway. If they've done it well, you know what I mean? It'd be less of a problem, but it's not I don't like it, don't buy it. It's to stop making shit content. Which thankfully, you know, Journey Batu left a really sour taste in my mouth towards Sims. This is kind of help that. I hope that learned a lesson from the Sims 4 Journey for 2. I won't put up with that again. Not that I'm the be all and end all, but like, we shouldn't put up with that. No. I remained cautiously optimistic about the parts that I should have been cautiously optimistic about because the train let me down. My constructive criticism for EA, if you look at a neighbourhood and strip back all of the shells, see how empty it is then and see what you need to include. But the rest of it, the hiking and snowy areas, I am impressed. Oh yes, that is my review all in all. Surprise! You know how good it feels to be positive? Oh, I wish the Sims team would, you know, give me more positive things to be positive about and we could all be positive together. Anyway, please subscribe if you haven't already. I will see you in the next one. Tomorrow's video is a world overview and then Sunday's video is a build. And I'm so excited about the build and the world overview, but the build mainly. So yeah. Check them out if you want to. I love you all, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye, beach!